Hi, my name is Andrew Firth from the VMware Cloud Foundation Technical Marketing team, and welcome to this short overview on automation and scale in an existing Cloud Foundation environment. VMware Cloud Foundation is built on trusted VMware technologies for compute, storage, networking, and cloud management. Cloud Foundation takes this further by integrating and automating these components together for rapid initial deployment, simplified scale and day 2 operations, and full lifecycle management, including patching, upgrades, and maintenance. Today, we're going to spend some time looking at how Cloud Foundation uses inbuilt automation to simplify scaling your private cloud infrastructure and streamlining management and operations. Let's first take a look at deployment and scaling operations within a pre-existing Cloud Foundation environment. Once Cloud Foundation is deployed, SDOC Manager can be used to further scale an environment quickly and easily. All Cloud Foundation workloads can be run from within SDOC Manager or driven with the API. The inbuilt automation caters to a broad range of scaling scenarios. We can scale an existing deployment by adding new, freshly imaged ESXi hosts into a Cloud Foundation inventory. We call this process host commissioning. And when commissioning a new host, we also leverage automation with IP assignments for vMotion and storage. What we do here is provide our customers with the option to pre-configure a network pool to store sets of IP address ranges that we can draw from when we need them, removing the need to manually make IP address requests and therefore speeding up the deployment process. Once these hosts are commissioned, they can then be seen within the Cloud Foundation inventory within SDOC Manager, and the new hosts can then be used to either expand an existing cluster, create a new cluster within an existing domain, or they can be used to create a new workload domain. Cloud Foundation also contains workflows to deploy optional NSX Edge clusters, which can be then used to configure external connectivity for a wide variety of use cases. Cloud Foundation resolves the scaling challenges which many organizations struggle with, and this is all made possible by leveraging the benefits of running standardized infrastructure. The outcome is that Cloud Foundation environments can scale out and scale up when they need to, very quickly, using automation. ESXi hosts can be commissioned individually or as a group into Cloud Foundation to scale out your private cloud infrastructure. This host commissioning process within SDOC Manager automates the configuration of everything you need. It configures host level compute, storage, and networking within minutes, saving a massive amount of time and repetitive manual effort. Once the process is complete, these hosts can then be seen and consumed as available capacity within the Cloud Foundation inventory. Cloud Foundation pre-configures each of these hosts as standardized building blocks. They're configured with vSphere, enabled for NSX, and configured for storage. Hosts can then be consumed and allocated in one of two ways. They can be used as expansion capacity for an existing cluster, or they can be used as dedicated units of capacity which can then be pulled into new clusters, what we call a workload domain. Cloud Foundation contains an automated workflow to create new workload domains. Each workload domain contains its own sets of software-defined policies, which allows them to be managed and configured separately from other workload domains. SDOC Manager supports a total of 15 workload domains per VCF instance, including the management domain. The automated workflows within SDOC Manager configures a new workload domain with its own dedicated ESXi host, dedicated vCenter server, dedicated storage, and choice of a dedicated or shared NSX network fabric. Customers also have a choice of Update Manager, choosing to configure vSphere LCM baselines or vSphere LCM images, which update both the SDOC and hardware stack. The cluster can then be configured with a choice of supported storage types. vSAN is always used in the management domain and is what we recommend using in any other domain. Using vSAN provides the customer with a full software-defined solution. It is flexible, quick to configure, easy to change, and removes the need for manual configuration and potential disruption when changes are needed. SDOC Manager utilizes available hosts from within the Cloud Foundation inventory as the building blocks for a workload domain. The creation of the first workload domain deploys a new NSX Fabric instance. Customers can choose to deploy additional workload domains, which can utilize the same NSX Fabric, or they can create a new NSX Fabric if they are looking for network and policy isolation. Host vMotion and storage IP addresses can also be allocated from a different network pool. Regardless of what each workload domain is used for, each can be independently scaled and lifecycle managed, patched, and upgraded. By utilizing SDOC Manager or by using the API, workload domain deployment is simple and fast and automates over 50 manual tasks. Here we can see what the automation workflow looks like when provisioning a new cluster. The inbuilt workflows within SDOC Manager automates the configuration of an additional cluster within an existing domain. Clusters can be added within the management domain or a workload domain. The cluster is configured to utilize the update manager configured for the first cluster within the domain. The cluster can then be configured with a choice of supported storage types. The cluster also utilizes the NSXT network fabric configured with the domain. Once the workflow commences, SDOC Manager allows you to select the available hosts from the Cloud Foundation inventory to use for the cluster. And once the workflow is completed, the cluster is available and ready for customers to start running workloads on it. Cloud Foundation also contains automated workflows to scale an existing cluster. Once again, it is fast and fully automated. Additional hosts can be selected to add to existing clusters within the management domain or a separate workload domain. The host can be configured to use the existing update manager for lifecycle management, the existing storage type, and the existing NSXT fabric. Once the workflow commences, SDOC Manager utilizes available hosts from the Cloud Foundation inventory to expand the cluster. The workflow expands the capacity of the cluster without disruption to any running workloads. And once the workload is complete, customers can then start using their new capacity right away. Cloud Foundation contains an automated workflow within SDOC Manager to create an NSX Edge cluster. An NSX Edge cluster is a logical grouping of NSX Edge nodes. These NSX Edge nodes run on the vSphere cluster they are deployed to and provide north-south routing and network services for management and VI domain workloads. The automated workflows provision a T0 logical edge router with north-south routing and a Tier 1 logical router for east-west traffic routing, and can be configured to host additional stateful networking services such as load balancing and distributed firewalls. Layer 3 adjacency and appliance form factor can be configured as part of the automated workflow. NSX Edge clusters can be deployed at a workload domain level or a cluster level and provide ingress and egress traffic in and out of the Cloud Foundation environment. They can also be configured to use application virtual networks, VCF with Tanzu, and HCX workload migration. NSX Edge clusters can be expanded and shrunk using inbuilt automation from within SDOC Manager. Edge cluster expansion and shrinkage allows VCF operators to scale the right level of resources on demand without having to size for demand up front. Cloud Foundation extends automation far beyond scaling SDOC infrastructure. SDOC Manager and the API can be used to automate a lot of common and often highly complex and time-consuming Day 2 operations functions. Tasks such as password changes and rotation, certificate management and signing requests, as well as full lifecycle management, patching and upgrades, which can often be extremely time-consuming. Many customers need to rotate passwords regularly across their infrastructure, and this can be a tedious task if it's not automated. VMware Cloud Foundation provides automation to update individual supported endpoint passwords or rotate all supported endpoint passwords in a single workflow. Password management can be performed from within SDOC Manager or by using the API, and provides automated workflows to simplify password management in several ways. The update option can be used to update the password of an individual component such as vCenter Server, NSX Manager, and NSX Edge, or in this example, ESXi. And the rotate option will generate complex passwords automatically and replaces all component passwords. The rotate option can also be configured to automatically update your passwords on a 30, 60, or 90-day schedule. Another common operational task is replacing certificates. Many customers need to replace certificates regularly, and this can be a risky task if not done properly. Cloud Foundation makes this simple through automation. Cloud Foundation has the ability to integrate with a customer certificate authority to create CSRs and generate new certificates. It's very simple to deploy these new generated certificates. Third-party certificates can also be uploaded and installed across components. And perhaps one of VMware Cloud Foundation's best-known automated capabilities is with Lifecycle Management. Tasks such as patching and upgrading can be daunting in the data center, and the risk of configuration drift and human error can delay patching operations. And with traditional 3-tier architecture and a software stack on top of it, the dependency mapping between multiple hardware, software, and server vendors can leave operations teams planning the upgrades for weeks or even months at a time. With Cloud Foundation, available updates for all components are tested for interoperability and then bundled with the necessary logic for proper installation order. And the whole process is completely automated. Updates can be applied on a per cluster basis, a per workload domain basis, or, if desired, the API can be used at a per ESXi host level. ESXi and NSXT components can be updated sequentially in a specific order or in parallel at the same time, and this helps to minimize disruption and maximize your maintenance windows. At the time of deploying a new workload domain, customers are given the choice of update managers to upgrade ESXi hosts. Choosing to configure vSphere LCM baselines will upgrade the VMware SDOC software components. Using vSphere LCM images takes Lifecycle Management even further, allowing the hardware, firmware, and drivers, as well as the full VMware SDOC stack, to be upgraded and patched during automated Lifecycle Management operations. Update bundles are validated and tested and then released to the VMware depot. SDOC Manager provides notifications showing when an update is available for download that is specific to your specific environment. Update detail can be reviewed and assessed for criticality before remediating your environment. A pre-check can then be run to complete an update to ensure that the components being upgraded are healthy and optimal. The pre-check will notify the user of any potential issues before commencing the upgrade. Using this information, you can then schedule the updates to occur immediately, or you can schedule them to work within your desired maintenance window. Final stage is that you'll be able to monitor the progress or review a post-update report. So as you can see here, Cloud Foundation provides a lot of flexibility, granularity, and options in terms of how we patch ESXi, vCenter, vSAN, NSX, and vRealize components within a Cloud Foundation deployment. Using automation allows them to be completed in far less time when compared with manual approaches. And that concludes this overview of VMware Cloud Foundation, automation and scale. Some of the topics mentioned in this session, such as initial deployment, networking, storage, and lifecycle management, can be explored in more detail. So please join me for more VMware Cloud Foundation videos in this series, which you can find on TechZone at core.vmware.com. My name is Andrew Firth from the VMware Cloud Foundation Technical Marketing Team. Thanks for tuning in.